I'm going to talk about your maintenance team, villain to superhero. We're going to have a look at what that means. We're going to have a look at which one you are. And we're going to give you 3 superpowers to take you on the journey from villain to superhero. Just want to put it in a bit of context first though. What I'm talking about here when I look at villain or superhero isn't whether your KPIs are red or green. It's not whether your equipment is running efficiently. What I'm talking about for the next 20 minutes is the perception, how everybody else in the business sees your maintenance team. And let's be honest, when we look at how people see your team, we're really talking about how they see you. So, let's have a look at some of the traits that I see in maintenance teams when they're considered the villain in the business. So the first one, there's always daily surprises. Doesn't have to be a breakdown. It could be somebody's off sick, could be a cost blowout, could even be an injury. But whatever's happening, there's always some sort of drama going on. I don't know about you, but I've got a friend, and when we go out for dinner, he's always late. When we're having dinner, he's the one who knocks the red wine all over the table. And then when we go to pay the bill, he's left his wallet at home. Yeah? So what do we say? There's always a drama with you. And when I first start working with these maintenance teams who are seen as the villain, same thing, same discussion in the business. The second problem that I see in these teams, they're off chasing the shiny things. They're looking for the silver bullet or that magic trick that's going to fix everything. You know, I think if we're honest, maybe there's some people here today who have given up on everything else and they're looking for that magic thing that's going to help. But similar to the butterfly catcher here, you know, what does he do with his butterflies? Catches all the ones that he wants, puts them in a nice box, puts them up on a shelf where they never get used or looked at. So my encouragement for you over these next few days is when you're looking at these shiny things, when something grabs your attention, really think about if it's the one that you need right now. The third thing that happens in these businesses where maintenance is seen as the villain and the problem is we have the blame game. Operations blame maintenance. Safety blame maintenance. Finance blame maintenance. And then this spirals into the maintenance team where the team are actually blaming each other. You get all this conflict between team members. And then when it gets really bad, everybody blames corporate because it's just so much easier. And where does this leave us? Well, it leaves us with the team dysfunctional. And as maintenance leaders, it leaves us on the desert island just crying out for somebody to help. I know I've certainly been in this position, not knowing, will help arrive? Who's going to bring the help when it does come? And in the end, the only way is to almost vote yourself off the island and move to somewhere where you think it's, the grass is greener. But it doesn't have to be this way. There are maintenance teams out there who are seen as the superhero in the business. And by superhero, I don't mean, they fly in on their cape whenever there's a breakdown and fix it all. Superhero businesses don't have breakdowns. There's 3 traits that I see when I work with these teams. The first one is the whole business works as one team. Now, Liverpool's my soccer club, so we were very fortunate this year. We took home some great silverware. But when I look at that team that were on the pitch, those 11 players, they were part of the bigger picture. Behind them is a team of physios, a team of dietitians, a team of coaches. And then when we look at the broader business, there's a team of finance experts, marketing professionals, business people. And it takes all of that to work together. The second great quality that I see in these teams is consistent results. The maintenance team delivers every single day consistency to its customer. We don't go into a Burger King or a McDonald's because we love the food or the food is great. We go in because we know exactly what we're going to get. We know we can trust that when we walk in, the experience will be the same. We're going to walk in, look at the menu for a few minutes, and then order the same thing we always order. We know how much it's going to cost. We know what it's going to taste like. We know how long it's going to take because it's now on a big countdown timer telling us how long our food's going to take. So I ask you, when your team are working with your customers, do they have that same experience? Do they look at the maintenance team and know what they're going to get? And the third thing these superhero teams have is healthy equipment. Now, obviously, we expect superhero maintenance team, the equipment's going to be reliable, it's going to be efficient. But what I'm talking about when I talk healthy equipment, I always look at this like a healthy person. Come back to the body. And what I think of as a healthy person, it's the guy who's up at 5 o'clock in the morning doing yoga on the beach. It's green smoothies for breakfast. Maybe a bit of mindfulness and meditation. So I ask you, what's the yoga that your machinery does? Or are you just getting it to the doctors or doing a dental checkup before the inevitable happens? When you get these three things together, instead of being on the tropical island searching for help, you're going to find in your business that you've got raving fans. You're the one up front with everybody cheering you on, everybody supporting you. Because when we look at it, there isn't a department in an organization that the maintenance and reliability team doesn't impact and can't affect their success of. Safety, quality, operations, finance even have, they've got the control of the budget. Finance need the maintenance team to help them to achieve their goals. So everybody ends up being a raving fan of that successful maintenance team. So, by way of introduction, my name is Simon Murray from Your Maintenance Coach in Melbourne. And over the last 20, 25 years of my career, I've been very fortunate to work with many, many businesses. But 10 years ago, I was an engineering manager in a business, in a bakery, going through the motions. And there was a trigger there for me back then that said, okay, got to do something differently. We'd make improvements, we'd turn the efficiency dial in the business, I'd move to a new team and we'd start that process again. But something wasn't gelling there. And it was a trigger about 3 o'clock one morning that made me realize I had to take a different approach to what I was trying to do with reliability. And my different approach was to package up what I knew and start help sharing that message. And the 3 o'clock phone call came. I was working in a bakery, 24/7 environment, and 3 o'clock phone calls weren't unusual. I thought they were pretty normal. This one was a little bit different, and for the first time it came with a big kick in the back from my wife, who told me to take the call in a different room. And that was the trigger to me that it's time to look at reliability in a different way. So as you go through this conference, I want to ask you, what's your why? Terence spoke earlier about aim. I heard somebody else in one of the sessions talk about Simon Sinek's Start With Why. But I truly believe until you know what your why is and why you're on this journey, you won't get the full support of everybody behind you. If you can clearly articulate your why, then people will follow you very, very quickly. So, a question. Which team are you? What are you seen as? Are you the villain or the superhero? So can I just quickly have, by a show of hands, who considers that their team is perceived as being a superhero in the business? Hand on heart, you're seen as the rock star in your business. The business pumps money into the team every single day because they know you're adding value. Anybody? Okay. Fortunately, you're in the right place. So, as engineers, we can make things a bit complicated, can't we? There's all these little gadgets, tools, all these different things out there, and you're going to see lots of them today. As a great mentor of mine once said, Simon, it's not Pokemon Go. You don't have to collect them all. You don't have to do it all. But you're going to leave here after seeing all these things. You're going to get back into the office on Monday morning. You're going to open up your notebooks, and you're going to wonder, what happened? Where do I start? How many things have I got to work on? So what I want to just cover now is, I want to share with you the 3 superpowers that I see of teams that are superheroes. So the first one, it's an engaged team. Now, engaged, it's a word that we throw around a bit, don't we? I often ask people, are your team engaged? Yep, they do everything I ask. Well, that's obedience, that's not engaged. But as leaders, I think sometimes we miss the point that it's our job to give them something to be engaged in. Now, this example here of a human tower in Spain, this started off as a competition to build the highest tower. But I read recently now in Spain, in this area, because the economy is so bad, they're using this actually as a way to show their national optimism. So this is transcribed into something much, much bigger for them to be engaged in. And this, I translate in business, is kind of your corporate values, your corporate mission. But that's quite difficult to get our team engaged in. So the tip that I use to make that happen is to bring it down a level. Now, we know that our brain, right side creative, left side analytical. When I'm engaging a team in this purpose that I set for them, start with the creative side. It can be a challenge for engineers. I'll give you an example. Chobani Yogurt, their corporate vision is better food for more people. The engineering team have translated that down to, we will provide 100% availability to production. So they've taken the corporate and translated it. And then they flip that to the analytical side, where they have a 90-day improvement project running, which is generally to improve efficiency by a certain percentage over 90 days. And that team, they found, is super engaged in achieving that because it pulls on both sides of the brain. The second superpower I see is repeatable processes. So I don't know if anybody's ever been on a cruise ship, or even when you checked in here, you've got a big brochure with all the activities for the week. And the first thought is, wow, there's just so much going on. How do they organize all this? The reality is, in the background, every Monday's the same. Every Tuesday's the same. And they've built that consistency into their program so that they can deliver amazing service. And truly great maintenance teams do that same thing. So you set up these repeatable processes. The challenge that we face, though, is people leave. People move on. And the way we have to overcome that is by having this instruction manual. It's in one of the sessions this morning, and someone was talking about doing the same work every 5 years because it was never documented properly in the first place. So similar to the IKEA catalogue, building IKEA furniture. How can you make it so that everyone follows the same process every single time? Okay. The third superpower. The team delivers great service to their customer. Now again, everybody usually thinks we do a good job. Quality's good, we get there on time. To me, great service is actually the mindset of knowing you are serving your customer. Very few maintenance and engineering teams I work with who actually understand the value of their customer, actually understand that they are there to deliver this service. Instead, they see themselves as, it's my equipment. Well, often it's not. And what we're really trying to do in this delivering great service, we're trying to build trust. Trust in everybody to work together. Because when we have everybody working towards a common vision, everybody's engaged, they start to trust each other. And when there's real trust in a business, that's when we can start to work as one team to really accelerate the results. So, spoken about villain and superhero. And it may be a bit of a challenge for you to go back to the office next week and ask the boss to buy some capes because you're suddenly going to turn the team into superheroes. So I'd like to leave you with challenging you on a question that I ask every leader that I work with. And that question is, what if your business outsourced maintenance? Yeah? What if the CEO wakes up tomorrow, walks into work on Monday and says, I've decided to outsource the whole department to a third-party provider? And the question around this that you need to be able to answer is, would you get the contract? Because that's really what we're after here. We want to know that that our boss, the business, sees our team and what we're doing as the best option. So what's next? And I ask you to take away one thing from this presentation. When you go back to work on Monday, when everybody asks you, how was the conference? What were the best bits? After you've told them about Terence's karaoke skills, the next thing I want you to consider, before you jump into telling them about all the tips and tricks and tools, all the new gizmos you're going to buy, I want you to tell them about how this conference has changed your mindset, how it's changed the way that you're going to think about reliability. Because let's be honest, if you don't go away from this conference with a different mindset and thinking in a different way, you've really wasted your time and your money. Thank you.